Physics in Necrotic World, Season 4, Motion and Vectors, Episode 77, Resultant Vectors. Welcome, strangers. Okay, so the resultant vector is related to the way the thingies are displaced. Say I ran 100 meters, then ran... Wait, hang on, let me just... Okay, say I ran 100 meters. Sorry, I just shut the door for 1 second. Okay. The resultant vector is related to the way the thingies are displaced. Say I ran 100 meters forwards, then ran 100 meters back, yeah? If I ran 100 meters forward and ran 100 meters back, my total displacement, if I was in this exact same spot starting and ending, would be 0 meters, yeah? We established that? But say I ran 100 meters forwards, then ran 10 meters back, the resultant vector would be 90 meters forwards. So that's the displacement, yeah? That's where I went. Compared to my starting position. Resultant comes from results, you know, like as in end product. So resultant vectors are the combination of vectors, your summation of vectors, if you're more mathematically inclined. Vector isn't like that, you know, certain orange dude in the Minions film, you know, Despicable Me, I think? Anyways, but it has a direction and a magnitude, and it's a measure of position in a medium. Poor Ehrenfest, okay, I've said this before, yeah? Paul as in Paul, and then Ehrenfest as in, I can't really say his name right, but I'm trying, okay? He's a great physicist, love him. I mean, I love his work. It's absolutely amazing. Ehrenfest. Okay, so I mentioned him before, but I feel like I shouldn't forget to reiterate. He was a great physicist. Even more awesome as a science communicator. I mean, I'd hope that one day I'd be a great science communicator, but I don't know about that. The irony was like horrible in that even his friend was arguing against quantum theory just as if his opponents were arguing about relativity theory. His friend was Einstein. It's a shame. His friend is well known, but Ehrenfest not so much. So I researched his work, and he was a teacher first and foremost, in that he encouraged exploration of electron spin and insisted that classical mechanics still has relevance to quantum applications. He thought he was falling behind, so yes, Labatut, like Labatut, he was right in that he wasn't a good judge of his own life. He helped describe bosons, Bosons. Actually, you know what? You really have to look into him yourselves. It's the Lorentz-Fitzgerald contraction that's especially interesting. Lorentz as in with a T, so Lorentz, and Fitzgerald as in Fitzgerald. Contraction, so Contraction. Okay, so that's especially interesting as it acts as a tie-in with temporal relativity, so it's pretty cool. There's a book in French called Maniac that starts with Ehrenfest. I have a copy which I jokingly picked up at the Albertine bookstore when I went to New York. Yeah, it was an interesting trip. It wasn't much that we actually visited, but it was more like interesting, cousins, yay. It was fun, yeah. I like my cousins. I'm not saying anything bad about that, because I liked it. But it was just, New York was very different. I don't know if I liked it very much, but yeah, very, very different. Massive, massive buildings. Everything was like super inflated in comparison to the UK. And I mean, a lot of, let's just say that it wasn't a great place in that, come on, in Times Square, why are there children smoking weed? That's crazy. That's like, please stop, be normal, please. I mean, normality doesn't exist, but like, please no. I do not encourage that whatsoever. Very, very bad. But it's insane, absolutely insane. Yeah. It seemed like a fun place to live, but I like their subway. You know, they say that the subway's horrible, but like, it's more lively per se. Anyways, yeah. So I picked that book up jokingly at the Albertine bookstore, in which I somewhat embarrassingly only read a couple of pages of before deciding it would take years to finish. The librarian said it was a well-known book amongst circles of cultural enthusiasts. I'm guessing von Neumann fanatics, and actually I don't really know. I need to finish reading it. She was like, that she went to a party and like these people who like culturally literate, like really good, enthusiastic people, they read the book and they were talking about that. I bet that's really cool, right? Yeah, I need to finish reading it. I only bought it as a bet that I could read it, in theory. I'll buy it very slowly because heavy annotation was needed for me to even think about it. I mean, it wasn't French. Can't blame me. The author Labatut, you know, he said that you have to understand that uncertainty is one of the highest forms of the truth. But he actually started his book with the discovery of the irrational. Obviously, I'm translating because it didn't say the discovery of the irrational. I only read the first few pages, but it's pretty cool. So it was talking about Vasily, who is Ehrenfest's son, and his situation under the Nazis, and how, well, it's a tragic story really, how he died and killed his son along with him. Anyways, see you next time at Physics and Necrotic World. This is your host, Rimona Christian, R out.